right, so the gang is all here.
I want some rest.
Are we having fun yet?
As SpongeBob would say, the gang is all here. Yes, 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 our boy Harrison Barnes recently made a post showing that they are all present. Well, at least a couple of our players are present. Now, here's the thing, and this is going to sound weird coming from a Spurs fan, and this won't be a long video by any means, but the Spurs have been very quiet, and I think more quiet than usual, at least from the player standpoint. The last couple off seasons, I feel like we've had something to point to almost every day, as far as some posts that either Jeremy Sohan makes or Devin Vassell makes. Shoot, even last off season, we had Wemby making quite a few posts right here and there, or liking specific things, commenting on specific things. But that has not been the case this off season, and I don't know if it's because of the veteran presence. I don't know if it's because our young guys just got a little bit older. I don't know if they've gotten on to them. I have no idea. Now, it wouldn't be any reason to get on to, Jeremy Sohan or anything like that, those young guys. But the one player that I do think that they probably got onto was Malachi Branham, because if you guys remember Mr. Freeze, it's like an inside joke at this point. I won't even harp on what that means, okay? If someone want to explain in the comments, if someone doesn't understand, explain in the comments. But I feel like after that, he's been way more quiet after the Mr. Freeze incident. But the team as a whole has just been non-existent as far as finding any posts. And every single time that we see anything of them of working out or something going on, it's from third-party sources. It's like a coach that just happened to post it, and we see him all the way in the background. Oh, isn't that Chris Paul back there? Oh, look, isn't that... Is that Stephon Castle? I don't know. Maybe. It's been really weird. Not really used to this, especially the past couple off seasons. But with that being said, he did make a post recently in which it says "locked in," showing him giving a high five to. At first, I couldn't tell who this was. By the way, I think I'm gonna do the same thing with my hair. Okay, I need a high top fade. I need to do something, man. I've been cutting it myself for the past year. I can't do it anymore. I can't. And now that I'm growing it out a little bit, it's a mess. But anyways, Keldon, I'm just saying all that to say I'm jealous. This looks really nice. So that's Keldon Johnson. Pretty sure, 102% sure. Don't know who this is back there. I'm sure it's just one of our coaches. And that's I don't know who this is. I'm not quite sure who that is. He looks strange though. It looks like an alien. And it looks like this is the hair that he is gonna go with. A lot of us questioned, I questioned, maybe like two other people, what was going on with his hair last season, because it started off where it was like, oh my gosh, he's gonna have it dyed, it's gonna look so cool. And then as it went on, he was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna let it grow out. But that's what he went for. And a lot of fans, I actually did see this, I saw a lot of fans saying they wanted this style back, right? So it's cool that he's bringing that into the season. And then obviously we got Harrison Barnes here. So really excited. And I'll be real, just being real with you, this roster, at least this starting five, the more I think about it, the more excited I get. Originally I said that the Spurs would maybe scrape 35, maybe get to 35. The more I think about it, the closer and closer I am getting to 40, man. I just think that this, unless the Spurs decide to go ahead and move Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes, which I think Chris Paul will eventually be moved. But just all intents and purposes, looking at this team, you have Chris Paul, who obviously is a maestro, and while he's older, it's not like he's like trash. If you watch him, he can still put up a stupid amount of assists any given night. Didn't really have a great opportunity with the Warriors to fully showcase what he's capable of. But with him being in a more dominant role, I think that he's really going to shine. So Chris Paul, we know what we're going to get out of him, right? You take Devin Vassell. I was not expecting the Devin Vassell of last season. I'll just be real, okay? Before that, I thought that maybe he'll be somewhat of a 3-and-D. I didn't think that he had a lot of creativity offensively, but now I think he's much better. And I don't know, we keep bringing up Wembanyama benefiting from Chris Paul. I've brought up Stephon Castle benefiting from Chris Paul, but I think Devin Vassell is really going to benefit. A lot of the shots that he took last season, I know people will say it's bad shot selection, but it really came down to that's what was available. We just didn't have a team that was very, had much depth. So Devin Vassell would get quite a bit of attention. So he would be subjugated to make and try to make long contested 2-pointers. And he did a really good job at it. There were many shots where it was like, whoa, I can't believe that went in, right? So I think that it's going to be much easier for him. And hopefully Devin Vassell making that jump that he has where he can be a shot creator. Maybe he can tap back into what he was during what's those things called? Play-in tournament. That's what it's called. I haven't seen one of those in a while. During the play-in tournament where DeJounte Murray was basically dishing it out to him and he was just catching shooting. And I forgot how many points he ended up putting up, but it was pretty doggone impressive how many threes he was hitting. So I think that we'll see a few performances like that from Devin Vassell just because you have Chris Paul on your team. And then you take Harrison Barnes. He's not who he used to be. All right, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like Barnes is in his prime or anything like that. But he's been a consistent, really good three-point shooter. And I do think that he is a massive upgrade from Julian Champagnie. And that's not saying Julian Champagnie is a bad player. I think that he is going to be really good off the bench. But he was just not a starter. He was never a starter. And now we have a legitimate, at least right now for a placeholder, a legitimate small forward at that slot. Sohan, obviously we keep harping this a lot. Like he got to work on his 3-point shooting, but he has worked on his 3-point shooting. So it's no real point in constantly bringing it up. Last 2 months of the season, yeah, he struggled a little bit, but for the majority of the season, he was shooting a very high percentage from 3. It was very impressive. So he's going to open things up as well. And with him having a actual point guard, or not to say Trey Jones is bad, but having Chris Paul, a huge upgrade there, I think that he's going to find Sohan on a lot of cuts because Sohan has a high basketball IQ, especially when it comes to cutting to the basket and knowing the right angles to take. So he's going to find some pretty decent connections with Sohan. And then Wemby is Wemby, right? Like I don't know how big of a jump he'll make as far as 3-point shooting, but Chris Paul obviously in the pick and roll is going to be nasty. He's going to find him for every single lob. I don't think Chris Paul is going to miss one lob. And like I said, one of the best to ever do it. But one of the most important things that I think is being lost in this whole conversation is the Spurs ended up grabbing Stephon Castle, who could end up being Rookie of the Year. I think that he has a legitimate shot of being Rookie of the Year. And I think he could be really, really good. His ceiling, like I said, is like SGA level. But coming off the bench, you just moved Trey Jones, a really good point guard, or, at least a really good backup point guard, to the bench, and you just moved Julian Champagnie, who I think is a legitimate 3-and-D player and pretty decent IQ as well, to the bench. You have a very strong bench now, or a much better bench than you did last season, much more depth than you did prior. So that's something to look forward to. Malachi Branham, I know we constantly question like where does he fit on the team. I don't know what the long-term looks like with having Branham, but I will say this: he's gonna get a lot of opportunities to hit threes for us. I don't know, if Popovich is still going to go in the direction of saying, hey, be more aggressive, we're going to run you in the pick and roll. But because you have Stephon Castle and because you have Trey Jones, maybe he doesn't do that. So we'll just wait and see. That's one that's a question mark for me. And I think Blake Wesley, whenever he gets to be on the court with Wemby, I think that he'll be able to shine a little bit more. And hopefully he worked on his catch and shoot 3-point shooting as well. But just the leadership of having Chris Paul and the leadership of having Harrison Barnes, I think this is a legitimate, I don't know what I just said, a legitimate great, or at least very good starting 5, right? Really good starting 5. Good mixture of vets, good mixture of youth, and then you have the mega superstar here. So I not world beaters by any means, but I am really convincing myself that the Spurs are no longer just, we'll get to 34 wins, 35 wins. I think we could very much so get to that 40. I'm really starting to inch close to that. But you guys let me know. You guys let me know what you think. A few comments here, obviously unbiased because this is from Legion Hoops who posted this. You can see a few comments of people, what they have to say. This is a Celtics fan, says 9th seed if everyone healthy. Wemby gonna cook, and we will be there to watch. If Wemby is Wemby is as good as people say he is, this team should be in the play-in range. They add Trae Young, and it's a championship team. This team sucks. Wow. Solid, not gonna lie. Potential play-in chance. Barnes ain't never showed that much emotion. That's funny. Okay, so this is a poll, 654 people, and it says Spurs team is winning blank games next season. So under 30, 12.7%, 31 to 40, so that's what I'm inching at, 63.1%, and 41 to 50 has 20%. That's a pretty big chunk. I know this is a small sample size, but for people that are not just Spurs fans, that's a pretty high percentage. People outside of San Antonio basically saying, yeah, 20% chance, or 20%, not 20% chance, but 20% of people believe, oh yeah, they'll get 41 to 50. 4% said over 50. They're crazy. I don't think that'll be the case. Castle will start before long. I think he will after a while. Below 50 playoff team. Okay, so yeah, people are pretty hyped about this, and yeah, the more I think about it, the more I'm hyped about it too. But anyways, and this should be the starting 5, like day one. There's no way Pop moves Sohan to the bench. I don't really see a point in doing that. No way Barnes goes to the bench. Yeah, this should be the starting 5 easily. Anyways, I will give it to you guys later, man. Until next time, bye.